We're coming at you straight out of Stockholm right after the final match between Fnatic and Origen. And with me, I have Ducky, the coach of Origen. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you.
First off, there's one thing we've been chatting about that we'd really like to know. I mean, you've had a bit of a diverse background. You've come from Roccat, you've been in a few places, you've had a few teams. What's it like coming from a normal team, no disrespect meant to Roccat at all, but what's it like coming from like a normal team to one that very much has been riding this wave of star power, the star quality?
I would say it's probably easier. You have more veterans, they have a lot of experience, they've been very successful, so there's like a lot less coaching involved in getting their mindset right because they just have so much experience.
Well, speaking of the experience then, and the fact that obviously they've all worked with coaches before, or at least most of them, I assume. Talking to people like some of the coaches of the other teams, there's a huge difference in how they do it. I mean, some of them will minutely control all the details, what goes on. Some of them believe more in an anarchistic, slightly democratic solution, like, I think you should do this, what do you guys think? How do you guys like approach this? How do you coach people who already know so much?
I would describe myself as like analytical, supportive. So I'm definitely a person that gives suggestions and tries to explain why this, like where it's coming from, like why it's a good idea. I'm definitely not the type who tells them you have to play this no matter what. These guys are extremely intelligent at the game, so it's pretty much just help them out, help them help themselves. This is what it's all about.
Well, going off that, your squad has proved itself beyond a doubt at this point. I mean, you are. I shan't reveal the result of the last match, so I can't say what ranking in Europe you are. But it was an impressive few games, and especially the first, fourth, and fifth match were rather spectacular. Everything considered, that was Christ. But you've also had some sketchy matches going up to it. And did you guys have to like find each other? Did you have to learn to kind of flow as a single unit to reach the point that we saw now? Or how did that happen? I mean, how did you train this?
I would say it works a little bit like this. We've been trying very, very hard to improve. For us, it's all about improving. So naturally, the more time passes, the more games we play, the stronger our game plan will be. I think a few weeks of extra preparation and having like a specific opponent, a BO5, it helps us a lot. Like we take it extremely serious compared to like, I mean, we're not taking the BO1 unserious in the LCS, but it's a different type. Like there's a huge crowd. You wanna show them like everything you're capable of, and I think that just helps us to put up a better performance.
Well, that's actually an interesting question. Speaking of the BO1s. There's been a lot of talk with the pro players, especially in the NA scene, that they'd like to change that for a BO2. First of all, to remove some of the random factor of one bad game or something like that. But also to like you said, you're better able to strategize, you're better able to kind of, if one team has an advantage being blue with the first picks, you're kind of able to turn that around and do these things. What's your stance on that? Would you prefer a BO2 for the normal season?
For me as a coach, it would make things easier if I would only have to prepare for one team per week. It's still fine with the 2 weeks, with two teams. Like before that, when there was like super weeks and you had to prepare for 4 teams, it was like extremely difficult. I would like BO2 or BO3, but mainly because I think it would just be nice to play more games in a competitive environment.
Well, moving into Worlds now, looking at the seeds and all these things, do you think you guys are prepared to kind of take your spot and have a go at it? And do you have any kind of special things that you guys need to like work on in order to make it out of groups?
Well, for starters, we need to qualify. So
let's assume that you do.
If we win the gauntlet and we end up qualifying, I think it's very, very group dependent. If like we would have I think the gauntlet seed is the worst seed, so there's a good chance we might have a very hard group. And depending on that, we might or might not make it out of groups.
Well, fingers crossed. One last question, because I'm slowly getting the impression that the magical people behind the camera who always come and spoil our fun have kind of decided this is the last one. Looking at the gaming house that Origen used to have.
Oh yeah.
Yes. Do you feel that you joined them at the wrong time?
No, I mean Tenerife was only possible in Challenger, so It was definitely a nice house, but things to consider is that if I would be living in Spain, I wouldn't understand any of the language. It was pretty far away from a lot of things, so I don't think I would actually enjoy it that much. I think it would be too in the outside, and I think I prefer like living in Berlin and in Germany because it just makes things much easier for me. And I'm not a guy who has like the highest standards in terms of gaming houses. So if I have a room, I have a bed, I have a table, I'm fine. So it doesn't matter that much to me.
Cool. Well, thank you very much for joining us. For the rest of you, for more on the LCS, stay tuned to leapmat.com. Ta.